See, this is sad. I didn't think I would be filming this video so early into the season. I mean, it is relatively quite far into the season, but alas, I've been eliminated. I've burped. It's a confessional, so I have to burp. Anyway, yeah, I was eliminated today, and it felt weird. The only time I heard my name coming up was like half an hour before Tribal Council, when Matt said to me, he was like, I really don't like this halo that's above me right now. Anyway, um, long story short, Matt had said to me, in passing, how he thought that Jello, Zeke, and Manly were voting for me. And it came out of the blue, but then I realised that I was going home, and that the boot order I wanted was flipped, essentially, because what's happened is that I was too much of an underdog, I was too much of a small threat, and I suppose I already had too many allies on the jury, and so just the natural order of the game meant it was my time, and I understand. Obviously, I was not in the power position I thought I was. I thought Yuli and I were in the centre of the tribe, and that Chi-Chi, Matt, and Exus were 1-3, and that Jello, Manly, and Zeke were the other, but I suppose it seems that, in fact, Manly and Zeke are the two people that have been flip-flopping the entire time. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic, and I really enjoy the way this season has been playing out, not only as now a juror who can look retrospectively through the season, but also as someone that was in the season. I remember when I was in the season, in the game, thinking to myself how cool it was that the alliances were so fluid and that the game was progressing the way it was. I would like to say that I'm the first person of the mid-merge to be eliminated, because I think the final 8 marks an interesting point in the game where you're still not necessarily thinking about the final tribal council, but you are thinking about who you can trust a little bit more, and the pressure is on, but it's not that on. And so I just wasn't able to deal with that interim period, and I didn't know my way around this round of the game, and that is totally okay. I am so proud of the game I've played, even though I'm incredibly devastated to be eliminated at this juncture. Because I know that there were so many instances in this game where I could have gone home. I was shifty, I was an overplayer, I was brash, and I said my piece, and I unapologetically was myself, and I think, how can I not be proud of the game I played, considering the fact that I played as my authentic self? To say that I'm not proud of my game would be to say that I'm not proud of the person I am, and so naturally I'm incredibly proud of my showing, even though I came 8th. It's funny because I said that 8th was my mark. I wanted to make 8th at least, because 8th is my worst ever org score, and so the fact that I'm 8th again is kind of poetic and it's kind of funny, and I'm very happy that at least I get to share a placing with Gimps, so that's fun. I almost liken my final 8 elimination to that of SurvivORG, which was the last season of SurvivORG, which was also a 5-3 vote, but the thing is, in that boot, if I recall correctly, I think that the tribe should have voted out Tristan instead of Eli. In this season, I think they voted out the correct person, because I was simply an underdog. I simply was, as I say, able to find all these scraps from the bottom and work my way through a full-course meal. That's a really elaborate metaphor that I talked about in a past confessional, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, I suppose it caught up to me. That was my biggest worry, is that I was playing the middle a little too hard, but I realised that I was really never in the middle at all. It's kind of the testament, or the bottom line of my game, how I thought I was in the middle, but really I was on the bottom. And it really gets me thinking, because this org has been straightforward in the sense that, there's been a swap at Final 14, there's been a merge at Final 11. I'm unsure if there's going to be a Final 2 or a Final 3, but the fact that I was able to make 8th place in SurvivORG, I'm really proud of, simply because, as I say, my worst ever score, but also because I knew coming into SurvivORG that I was going to be facing so many disadvantages. And there are so many to list, but the main ones that come to mind are my time zone, how I live in New Zealand, which is hard because it means I can't strategize at the same time as people, or even just not being online at the same time as people really gives you a disadvantage to when it comes to making social connections. Because I always had to like finesse a time to talk to people. But another disadvantage I faced was how I didn't know anyone going into the game. I knew Woofy, but she was eliminated immediately, and she was rather inactive from what I've heard. But hearing retrospectively that the likes of Manly, Zeke, Beck, Exis, they all know each other. And so the fact that I made 8th place as someone that is new to orgs is pretty cool in my opinion. But yeah, it really is saddening to be out of the game, especially because I know I have a lot more to give, and that a part of me feels incredibly like jolted, and yeah, I feel a little shifted, or shafted I should say, because yeah, it almost felt like I never had a chance at all because of my time zone and culture clash and the fact that everyone knew each other prior to the game. It's definitely going to be something I weigh up in my final tribal, the way that pre-existing relationships affect a season, and even the way that the presence of other people that you are even familiar with is crucial because it gives you a stronger sense of confidence. You know what I mean? It allows you to play a little bit more boldly, or at least you can be more sure of yourself. And I feel like this entire season, I was just so unsure of myself the entire time. So yeah, it's kind of been an uncomfortable and vulnerable org experience. I think also the fact that there was so much pressure to achieve, because SurvivORG was kind of my main goal. The fact that it's over has me kind of saddened because I know that I'm done for orgs for a while. That's of course unless I play something like Slowviver or Sameviver or Cool Survivor, but probably Casual Survivor, Conkster and Loaf and Big Jim, all my faves. So I would definitely suggest that people play Casual Survivor or Ladviver. Ladviver is this org that I host, so I would love for people to indeed look at all of that. But yeah, there's not really much else I have to say other than the fact that I am incredibly bummed. If you've watched any of these videos, then thank you for even taking the time out of your day to watch them. But yeah, I feel really deflated, really shafted, and I almost wonder if my entire experience was for naught because yeah, it felt like I was fighting an uphill battle from the start. And yeah, I mean, matched with my personality, there was kind of a 0.1% chance that I was ever going to win. Just because I'm so brash and outlandish, but I'm also openly analytical, and I'm not afraid to be like boldly strategic, I suppose. And so the fact that I am so shifty, matched with my time zone, pre-existing relationships, the pressure of it being SurvivORG, and the fact that I knew for a while that this was going to be my final org for a long while, yeah, maybe the pressure just got to me, because that's so many things to be combating at once. And I've also been doing university, my radio show, a whole bunch of other stuff as well. So yeah, 8th place in hindsight is a really good showing, and even if I only got to attend 4 tribal councils, or 5 counting the one I was eliminated in, I'm glad that I was a part of SurvivORG. I didn't even get to use my extra Safari run advantage too. But yeah, ever since like all of my allies were voted out one after another, it was pretty much a done deal for me, because I was trying to play the game that perhaps Lexa played 2 seasons ago, where she was, on the bottom the entire time, but was able to like use information. But no, I simply was out of the loop too much on this one. Yeah, that's really it. This will be my final words video, but then I'll also do a jury speaks sort of Ponderosa video about my final tribal council thoughts, but I'll post that when the time comes. Yeah, it's funny that all Beck, Bree, and myself were eliminated one after another, the BBBs. As I said in episode 1 or 2, I was like, oh my gosh, what if we all made the final 3? But look at how that worked out, right? Yeah. I'm glad to be the highest placing New Zealander in SurvivORG. That's pretty cool. But overall, I don't know whether to be disappointed or proud of myself. It's still going to take some time for me to process everything. But yeah, I stand by everything I said at Final Tribal too, because at this point, Yuli and Jello are kind of the only 2 people I want to win. So whatever when it comes to who is going to win. When it comes to the jury vote, I'll vote however I want to, and I don't really care about like being seen as bitter or not, because I'm a juror and you're not. So by, and my decision is ultimately valid because I'm a juror. And that's the point of the jury. I can vote for anyone for any reason. But in saying that, I'm excited to see the final tribal council, and I'm excited to see how the season plays out. I hope it plays out real well. I hope there aren't unanimous votes and that everything is really dramatic. I'm excited to see where this Fei Long idol is too. Yeah. Oh, this is so weird, the fact that this is kind of the second to last confessional I'm ever going to do for orgs, or at least for this era of my org career, if you want to call it that. Okay. Catch you on the flip side, and I'll see you for my final tribal council video. Goodbye.